Hey everyone, welcome to Storytime with the BSM. My name is Adrienne, and today we'll be reading King Louis' Shoes, written by DJ Steinberg and Robert Newbecker. Louis XIV was a very big king. How big was he? He was so big that he ruled France for 72 years. He built the biggest palace in the world in the town of Versailles. He grew the biggest army in all of Europe. He threw the biggest parties for his royal friends and family, and he gave the biggest gifts, mostly paintings and statues of himself. There was only one little problem. King Louis XIV was not big. King Louis, which is how you say Louis in French, was a shrimp. "Royal carpenter," called King Louis, "build me a throne so high that everyone will know just how big I am." So the royal carpenter did. When King Louis climbed up on that throne, he was the tallest king in the world, but King Louis could not sit up there all day. When he came down, he was still a shrimp. "Royal hairdresser," called King Louis, "make me the biggest wig ever, so that everyone will know just how big I am." So the royal hairdresser did. King Louis strutted the streets of Paris in his new do, until it rained. The king looked down sadly and saw his feet. "Royal shoemaker," called King Louis, "make me the biggest shoes ever, so that everyone will know just how big I am." So the royal shoemaker did. The people oohed and ahhed and ooh la la'd. Who had ever seen shoes like that? In the 1600s, heels were supposed to be flat. King Louis's family and friends loved his new shoes. They loved them so much. They all got new shoes too. That was a problem. So King Louis XIV issued a decree. No one could wear shoes taller than the king's. And to make extra sure, he got a new pair of shoes. How tall were the king's new shoes? They were so tall that the king needed his servants to lift his feet in and out of the royal coach. King Louis had to bend down to enter the big Baroque ball without breaking his royal head. And when the king got up to lead the first dance, he fell flat on his royal derriere, which is French for, well, the part he fell on. King Louis did not feel very big just then. Now the people will laugh at me, he thought. Now they will know. But the people did not laugh. They knew that because of the king, France was a proud and mighty nation. Thanks to King Louis, their lives were happy and safe. So what if he was a shrimp? The king looked around. All the people bowed and cheered for him to go on dancing. But how could he with those crazy shoes? Off came the shoes, up came the king. "Hurrah!" sang the crowd. King Louis XIV must have felt bigger than big that night, with his family and friends all around, as he spun and swayed to the music, dancing holes in his stocking feet. 14 facts about Louis XIV. Kindergarten king, Louis XIV was not even 5 years old when he was crowned the King of France in 1643. Record reign. He reigned for 72 years. When he died in 1715, Louis had broken the record for longest ruler ever of a major European country. Nickname fame. He was so powerful that people called him Louis the Great and the Sun King, but not Shorty. Vive la France. Louis made France the mightiest nation in Europe. He built an army of 400,000 soldiers and waged 3 major wars and many battles to keep the borders safe. Mail order bride. War was not the only way to keep his foes away. Louis asked his daughter of his rival, the King of Spain, to marry him. Clever, oui? Louis Land. The Palace of Versailles and its gardens were 87,729 square feet. That's the size of 3 Disneylands. Filled with activities to keep his friends entertained, it was actually a lot like Disneyland of its time. Seeing double? Louis put 357 mirrors in the palace hall, so he always had a place to check if his wig was on straight. The king owned more than 1,000 wigs. Little king, big appetite. Much of Louis's days was spent eating. That little king had a big stomach. No, really. After he died, doctors found out that his stomach was twice the size of an average man. Nobles beware. Afraid that his nobles might plot against him, the king kept close by and busy with many court ceremonies so he could watch them. He gave out honors like tasting the king's dinner for him in case it was poisoned. Louis's favorite subject. Himself, of course. Louis kept oodles of artists around to paint his portrait and war triumphs. He put up statues of himself throughout France. The dramatic, ornate style of art and music during the period of King Louis XIV is called Baroque. Dancing king. Louis loved ballet and often went on stage to dance with the ballerinas. He liked to lead the first dance at his royal parties. How short was he? In his bare feet, Louis was 5 feet and 4 inches short. But add 5 inches for his fancy heels and 20 feet for the throne he had built, he had towered 25 feet and 9 inches over his visitors when they came to see him. Louis's legacy. High-heeled shoes stayed popular with both men and women for over 100 years after King Louis's time. Eventually, men went back to wearing shoes with regular heels, but for ladies, high heels are still in fashion to this very day. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's story time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye!